An update. Missing children Alisha Smiley and Tavis Sutton. Before we get into this video, I would like to just state that all images used in this video fall under the Fair Use Act within YouTube's guidelines and are being used for educational purposes. I would also like to state that when I am speaking about myself, missing child Alisha Smiley and missing child Tavis Sutton are facts from my lived personal experience, and nothing that I state in this video is speculation, but my truth I have lived in my lifetime, and I am willing to testify in the court of law on anything that I say in this video. With that being said, what up, Truth Gang? It's your girl Alisha Smiley, BKA Asha Israel, aka Madre Omega, and I'm here today to bring you an update to me finding myself on a missing child flyer. This section of the playlist will focus mainly on missing child Tavis Sutton, who I was raised to believe was my cousin. If you guys are new here, welcome. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to join the tribe. Just a quick review of my current situation to bring you guys
on
up
December
to
5th,
speed.
2023, my daughter, who was 16 years old at the time, found me on a missing child flyer. If you would like to see how that took place and view all of my evidence of being missing child Alisha Smiley, please be sure to check out the playlist that is located on the main page of the Truth Gang channel. There you will find solid evidence of me being this missing child, including not just one, not just two, but all of the identifying marks, as well as a picture of me as a child in the clothing that Alisha Smiley came up missing in, and a picture of me and the person wanted for the kidnapping of Tavis Sutton in the same room while I'm wearing the same clothes as the missing child. This is very important to the entire situation, so please don't forget to watch all the videos on the playlist to get all the information and the evidence that I am presenting before you. This will also be added to the playlist upon publication. In the process of me finding myself on a missing child flyer, I found the flyer of missing child Tavis Sutton, which is also featured on the playlist of Alisha Smiley during an episode of YouTube's podcast, Calls from Beyond. Check out the story on how we found both flyers there. When I saw the flyer of missing child Tavis Sutton, I immediately recognized him as someone who I had grown up with. For the past few years, I have held the false identity of missing child Tavis Sutton because I was in fear for his life. I felt that the family that was responsible for kidnapping me would try to kill him as they did me when I figured out their plot to unalive me in order to cover up my kidnapping. These past few years of my life have been the hardest thing I've ever had to endure, and I did not want Tavis to have to go through the same thing that I went through. With that being said, allow me to introduce you to my cousin Dominique. This is Dominique. This is who I was raised to believe was my cousin. Now, before we get into this introduction, I would like you all to take a moment and think about the relationship that cousins have, especially when you guys are younger. There would have been family events, family dinners, outings, playtimes, weekends at grandma. I have no childhood memories of Dominique. I don't even know who in the criminal law enforcement family would be his mother or father, but we're supposed to be cousins. I remember the first time when I met him as an adult since the initial kidnappings. We were outside the church that I grew up in, Circle of Light Church of St. Louis, Missouri, off of Riverview and Veronica. They reintroduced us as adults, simply saying, "That's your cousin," and that was it. Other than saying hi and bye to him at the church, we never spoke in all these years of our lives that, we knew each other, but we were raised in the same family. I have never ever had a conversation with him until June 1st, 2025, but we're supposed to be cousins. Now let's take a moment to go over missing child Tavis Sutton's case. Missing child Tavis Sutton. The age progressed photo that you're looking at now is a computer generated version of Tavis Sutton at age 17. Missing since March 9th, 1993. Missing from Atlanta, Georgia. Classification, non-family abduction. Sex, male. Race, black. Date of birth, February 10th, 1993. Age of abduction is 1 month old. The height and weight at the time of abduction was 2 feet and 8 pounds. Clothing and jury description: a white flower print t-shirt, a diaper, and Grady Memorial Hospital tags around his wrist and ankle. Medical conditions: Tavis was recuperating from a minor surgery to treat an abscess at the time of his March 1993 abduction. He required continual medical care to treat his condition. Distinguishing characteristics: African American male, black hair, brown eyes. Tavis had a 1/4 inch surgical incision on his left buttocks at the time of his disappearance. Disappearance details: Tavis was admitted as a patient in the Hugh Spalding Pediatric Unit of Grady Memorial Hospital on Butler Street in Atlanta, Georgia on March 6, 1993. He was in custody of the Department of Family and Children's Services at the time. He underwent minor surgery over the weekend and was recuperating in a semi-private room in the ward during the early morning hours of March 9th. His roommate was another infant, and that baby's mother and sister were spending the night in the room also. A nurse checked in on them at 6:45 a.m. At the time, Tavish's roommate's mother and sister were asleep on the couch in the room. When the nurse checked on the room again, and 15 minutes later, Tavish was gone. Tavish's roommate's family's home was searched, and all family members were interviewed. They were eventually cleared as suspects in his case. Tavish's mother was being treated for schizophrenia in a mental institution at the time of his abduction. Neither she nor other relatives were considered as suspects in his disappearance. In fact, no one in his birth family was even aware that Tavish was in the hospital at the time of his abduction. There were two persons of interest in Tavish's disappearance. One was an agitated man who tried to enter the hospital's pediatric wing after 8:30 p.m., the night before Tavish was last seen. The visitors to the children's wing after 8:30 p.m. are required to carry passes that identify them as authorized to be there. This man did not have a pass and no legitimate reason to be there. The man is described as a tall, thin man wearing a baseball cap. He disappeared before security could be called. The second person of interest, this is very important, was a woman aged about 25 years old, described as 5'5" and 160 pounds, with medium brown complexion, strong cheekbones, and almond-shaped eyes. She wore black pants, a long coat, and large earrings. Her hair was pulled back with a large bow. She was carrying an infant with curly hair. A man saw the woman just outside the hospital and noticed her because she was very attractive. Another witness saw the woman inside of the hospital. This is one of the sketches included in the case file. The DCS has terminated Tavish's mother's parental rights to his three siblings and was seeking to terminate her rights to Tavish as well when he disappeared. They had taken custody of the baby when he was a few weeks old and placed him in a foster family. His mother sued the hospital over her son's kidnapping in March 1995. The suit was settled out of court for $600,000. Authorities stated that a woman who was pretending to be pregnant may have abducted Tavish in an attempt to raise a child. They speculated that she lived between 4 and 24 miles from the hospital. No evidence supporting any theory has been recovered, and Tavish's case remains unsolved. Until now, that is. Okay, Truth Gang, let's take a look at Dominique. Now, I'm going to ask you all to take a very good look at Dominique. Pay very close attention to his hairline, his forehead, brow line, growth pattern. Take a look at his cheeks, his nose, his lips. Notice the distinct indentation at the top of the lip. Notice how thin the top lip is. Now take a look at the bottom lip and notice how much larger it is than the top lip. Now look at his chin. Now let's take a look at the computer-generated age progression photo of missing child Tavis Sutton. Now, let's do the exact same thing. Take a very good look at missing child Tavis Sutton. Pay very close attention to his computer-generated hairline, his forehead, his brow line, and growth pattern. Take a look at his cheeks, his nose, his lips. Take a real good look at his lips. Notice the distinct indentation at the top of the lip. Notice how thin the top lip is. Now take a look at the bottom lip and notice how much larger it is than the top lip. Now look at the chin. They even got the little beard there. Okay, now let's do a side-by-side of Dominique and Tavis Sutton. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Zoom in if you got to. Zoom in if you got to. Let's pay very close attention to his hairline, his forehead, his brow line, the growth pattern of the brow line. Take a really good look at his cheeks, his nose. Look at that nose. His lips. Take another good look at those lips. Again. Notice the distinct indentation at the top of the lip. Notice how thin it is. Now I want you to take a look again at that bottom lip. Notice how much larger it is than the top lip. Now look at that chin. Look at the beard pattern the computer generated for him. Look at it. Let's look at another one. Here go another one. Look at it. Here go another one. Look at it. This is him in 2024, 2025. He's alive. Look at it. Pause the video. Zoom in. Look at it. Dominique is Tavis Sutton. Dominique is Tavis Sutton, my cousin. And I say this with air quotations because we are, in fact, not cousins or of any relation whatsoever. I am missing child Alisha Smiley, and Dominique is missing child Tavis Sutton. Now, as I mentioned before, the person wanted for the kidnapping of me, Alisha Smiley, is the same person wanted for the kidnapping of Tavis Sutton. The person I was raised to believe was my aunt who passed away in 2022, Carla Rogers. Now let's take a look at the description of the second person wanted in the connection with the kidnapping of Tavis Sutton while comparing a real picture of who I was raised to believe was my aunt, Carla Rogers. The second person of interest in this case was aged about 25 years old, described as 5'5" and 160 pounds with medium brown complexion, strong cheekbones, and almond-shaped eyes. My aunt was around 5'5" and 160 pounds. You can tell her height really by this picture, but it does give an excellent reference for her weight. As you can see, she is absolutely medium brown complected, strong, sharp cheekbones, and very big almond-shaped eyes. Now let's compare her picture to the composite sketch. Besides the complexion of the skin, due to it being a pencil drawing, everything else matches. Take a very close look. Identical eyebrows, eye shape, size, almond eyes, identical nose and ears. They even drew her red lipstick. Forehead, everything matching to this composite sketch. Okay? Like, what are the odds that I would be identical to missing child Alisha Smiley? He's identical to missing child Tavis Sutton, and she is identical to a composite sketch. What are the odds? Like, come on now. Stevie Wonder can see this shit. Ray Charles, everybody can see this shit. Unless you blind or you just want to turn the blind eye to truth. Here is a picture of missing child Alisha Smiley in the room with the same wanted kidnapper of Tavis Sutton right after they kidnapped me, still wearing the lilac ribbons and gold earrings and the white dress. I am Alisha Smiley. Take a look. Take a look. Zoom in if you need to. We can take a moment together, tribe, and zoom in. This is evidence. I am evidence. Dominique is walking evidence. I'm walking evidence. This is why they tried to kill me. But anyways, let's go back to June 1st, 2025. I woke up and I got on social media and I saw him on there and I came across his number and I gave him a call. This is how it went. Now keep in mind, this is supposed to be my cousin and we have never ever had a conversation, one where it was just me and him our whole entire life. I was around him several times throughout my life, but even if we were in the same room, we never spoke to each other. Okay, so the phone call. Ring, 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 ring. Him. Hello? Me. Can I speak to Dominique? Such and such. I said his last name, but I won't be saying it here for his safety. Him. Yeah, that's me. I said, okay, hi. You know me as Edie. We grew up together as cousins. Do you remember me? And he said, yes. I said, okay, good. Do you remember Aunt Carla? She most recently died. He said, yes. I said, okay, well, since she died, I became estranged from the family because after she died, we found myself on a missing child flyer, as in me and my daughter. And I said, and then like he cut me off and he says, I don't want to get involved in it. And I got faint of heart and I was just taken aback just by him cutting me off like that. And not even letting me finish my sentence. So I said with a cracked voice, I was like, but you on one too. You're on a missing child flyer too. But, you know, okay, I thought you might want to know that. And then I hung up on him, you know. After I hung up on him, I needed to take a moment to gather myself because, like I said, me and Dominique, who was really Tavis Sutton, have never spoken to each other than hi and bye at church. So I have no idea why he would feel like I would just call and put him in my situation when we don't even know each other. We just only know of each other as supposed family members. We went to the same church and everything for years, but we never smoked. I was actually calling to not put him in a situation, but get him out of a dangerous situation that he didn't even know he was in. But anyways, I was calling to tell him about his missing child flyer, not mine. If he would have let me finish my sentence, my next line would have still been exactly what it was. You're on a missing child flyer as well. You're on one too. Even though I was highly offended, I called for a reason, and the reason was not me. The reason was him.
I realized that I did not tell him who he was before hanging up on him, so the divine told me that I needed to complete that mission, so I sent a text so he could do his own research or maybe just take a look at himself in the mirror. But anyways, here's that text message. Text messages reads as follows. I will never contact you again, but you are missing child, Tavis Sutton, from the Grady 6 kidnappings in Atlanta, Georgia. I have proof for you, but you can figure it out on your own and do your own research. Take a good look at the woman accused of taking you. It would be wise to tell no one that you spoke to me. Good luck. Yeah, and I do wish him good luck because he's going to need it. He has no idea the amount of people that I had to defeat in order to get out alive. He has no idea the amount of hitmen that were unable to complete the job, the amount of people that they paid to lie on my name, to destroy my character. It was so hard for me to get away from these people alive, just to be able to tell him who he is to this day. He has no idea. So I do wish him good luck. You know, he's a man. He'll figure it out. That's just kind of how I feel because I had to figure this all out by myself with no support. No one would listen to me. No one would help me or any of that. And he kind of did the same, even though he's in the same situation. Granted, he didn't know he was in the same situation, but it just goes to show that you should listen and, not cut people off and allow them to speak because you never know whether or not that person is coming to deliver a divine message to you. So it is what it is. He'll figure it out. He's a man. And this is how we ended up at this video. His reaction kind of sparked a I don't give a fuck energy inside of me. So I did take his pictures off the internet and I used them to create this video to prove my point. Okay, all of this time I was just trying to protect his energy so that he can get out safely as well. And like I said, he was kind of rude to me. But yeah, Tavis Sutton is alive. We were both kidnapped and child sex trafficked across multiple state lines, had our lives, identities, and birth families ripped from us, given false identities, and placed in a family of high-ranking members of societies, nurses, doctors, lawyers, police officers, sheriffs, and multiple different cities. Where was Tavis Sutton? Tavis Sutton has been since 1993, since his kidnapping with this family. He spent most of his time in Texas with my Uncle Ricky, who is the brother, and that's in air quotations as well, of Carla Rogers. From what I understand, he's back and forth between St. Louis and Texas, and then I believe Kansas City or something like that. But he did a lot of traveling just as I did. And how they were able to do this was basically just hiding him in plain sight underneath a false identity, just as they did me, Alisha Smiley. They just gave me a new name, new social security number, new birth certificate, false identity, and just hid us in a community in plain sight. So that's where he's been all of this time. And guess what? He's still in the same family, in the same community. Okay, so yeah, the situation gets deep, you guys. A message to all connected to the kidnapping or cover-up of the kidnapping of Alisha Smiley or had any involvement in any way with this family over the last 40 years, no matter how big or small the connection. It's over. Justice is here. Now that you now know that the divine infinite all is real, the one God is real, you now know personally what was written in the scripture when the divine infinite God said, touch not thou the anointed and do his prophets no harm. Y'all have officially fucked around and found out. Everything I spoke over your lives, you are living it out right now today. Every single thing that I said. Some of y'all ain't even living no more because I predicted your death, and guess what? You're dead. There is nothing you can do. Justice is here. There is no way that you can hide that the divine infinite all, the ancestors, angels, and guides will not find you. Do not play with the divine infinite all. Do not play with the divine children, and do not play with my ancestors, angels, and guides. And most of all, do not play with me and my intuitive gifts. A message to Tavis Sutton, also known as Dominique. I pray that you have the ears to hear and the eyes to see the truth if you so desire. I pray that the angel of justice will help you along your journey. I hope that you make it out safe, and I hope that your real family loves you and wants to have a relationship with you. You have 3 siblings. If you're upset with me about this video, then sue me. All right, y'all. That's it. I solved my own 2 missing children cases, And you can say what you want about me, but you can't say I ain't the truth. Ashe to the divine ancestors, angels, and guides, the divine up in it all. Justice for Alisha Smiley is here right now. Hashtag justice for Alisha Smiley. Hashtag justice for Tavis Sutton if he so desires. Hashtag truth gang, 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 and I'm out.